that child ends up doing, yes, I gave him $5 for his fruitcake or whatever that I did. What really happened there is that my wound is revealed. My delusion is revealed.
Okay.
And then I say, what did the kid give me? That's what he gave me. That's what the kid gave me.
Okay.
We have
agree.
to take the time to make these choices. What did this
Yeah.
kid give me? Why? I gave him $5, but I'm a lunatic.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pulling out green bills and throwing them at a kid and then saying, bye. Don't come back next year. Or, oh, I love you so much. It's so wonderful. I hope you can go on your trip. Whatever, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. I am locked into the unholy relationship, and I have to feel the pain of that and realize salvation is the purpose. Salvation is my only purpose in this whole thing. And I definitely didn't do it.
Right.
I definitely didn't do it. But the kid comes as a dark angel saying, my friend, you're nuts. That's what the kid just gave me. And then I have a chance to partner with the Holy Spirit, maybe with tears, to see what I'm sitting on the floor by myself, just blah, 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 blah. I don't know anything. I'm an idiot. And how do I get connected to reality? How on earth do I get connected to reality? And I ask this of the Holy Spirit. That's the gift the kid brought me.
Yeah.
And then I can shower. I can say, oh, those are blessings that the kid brought me. And then I can say, I have been blessed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
But it takes some effort.
It does.
That's the learning it's talking about, a connecting means and ends. It takes a learning.
Right.
This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Today we're reading from Chapter 20, The Vision of Holiness, and we're reading from Section 7, The Consistency of Means and End. We have said much about discrepancies of means and end and how these must be brought in line before your holy relationship can bring you only joy. But we have also said the means to meet the Holy Spirit's goal will come from the same source as does his purpose. Being so simple and direct, this course has nothing in it that is not consistent. The seeming inconsistencies or parts you find more difficult than others are merely indications of areas where means and end are still discrepant. And this produces great discomfort. This need not be. This course requires almost nothing of you. It is impossible to imagine one that asked so little or could offer more.
As a general approach, understanding, let's say, call this a spoiler alert of what the rest of it is. You have these two systems, right? You have the egoic system, and you have the Holy Spirit system. In other words, the body, the self right here, me as the center focus, the axis mundi of my whole life, and the Holy Spirit as this other central axis.
Which contains your real self.
Yeah,
that is
well,
the real self.
The real self, because the Holy Spirit actually connects all the fragmented particles of the sonship. And me as the central focus, I do not connect all those. I might want to, but you can see the impossibility of that. So those are the two separate systems. Within each system, there is a means
And an end.
and an end.
And a purpose.
Right. Well, the end and the purpose are similar. But anyway, in each one there is a means and an end, as there is in anything you do.
Right.
And we've talked about that. Any goal that I have has both the means to get there and the end game that I want, the outcome that I want. I want an outcome, or an outcome that drives me, that creates the momentum. Each of these has this. And this whole section, the consistency of means and end, is about any given means will tend towards a certain end.
Right. So give an example of a means and an end of the Holy Spirit.
Of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and then a means and an end of the ego, just so that we can kind of clarify, so it doesn't get... I find that these types of paragraphs can be convoluted if I do not put in something in my mind that lets me know what the means and the end of each are. So the means of the Holy Spirit...
Okay, let's say I have the end of the Holy Spirit is I look into myself, I really don't like the way something is unfolding in my life, any given thing. We've talked about wars, we've talked about elections, we've talked about health problems, money problems. I don't like the way whatever this is turning out. And I have decided, because I've been doing the Course in Miracles, that myself as the center axis, the central focus, is not able to bring the proper outcome. I can't change the war outcome. I can't change the election outcome. I can't even change my health outcome. I've given up on solving all my problems. And because I'm doing the Course, I say, well, all is not lost. I have this willingness and the partnership with the Holy Spirit. Now that the Holy Spirit then sets the means. The reason I haven't achieved my goals and the reason I can't have the world I want is because I have been pursuing a certain means, which is me as the center focus, my will as the way of accomplishing it. So I suspend that, I let go of that, and I say my little willingness, and I let the Holy Spirit determine what the means will be to all of those outcomes. And
his purpose is holiness versus the unholiness of the ego. And so its means, its end is also holiness and or unholiness, which is the ego.
Well, I don't know if it's apparent to you, but it is as I say this. As soon as I let the Holy Spirit determine the means, as soon as I say, you be the means, in other words, we use the forgiveness cycle. We pursue, I don't know what I'm looking at. Give me another way to look at this.
Yes, all of those.
And I go through that in order to achieve a different outcome. As soon as I do that, you realize I might be wrong about the outcomes as well. I'm judging my outcomes based on my means. My means have been limited. That's me. And so I've interpreted my outcomes as being, well, let's say peace in the world looks like Putin withdraws his troops, he goes back to Moscow, and Ukraine lives happily ever after. Let's say I think that in the war situation, that I look at that. Now that's an outcome. I've chosen that outcome.
Right.
And so since I've chosen that outcome, well, ladies and gentlemen, I have also chosen the means.
Right. That would be your ego.
I might think I'm using the Holy Spirit.
Right.
I might think I'm praying. I might think I'm doing this, but I have used the ego to determine, and it will result in unhappiness in that case. So if I want peace, true peace in the world, and I partner with the Holy Spirit in terms of, let's say, Russia and Ukraine, to give that as an example, a simple example. I don't have a dog in that particular fight right now. If I want to see something happen there for very passionate reasons, one way or another, I have to let go of my passionate reasons. I have to, partner. My priority has to be, I am the salvation of the world, and the only way that can happen is in partnership with the Holy Spirit. I've seen how helpless I am when I use myself as that, and so I have to let, as painful as that is, walking away from the carnival guy that's kind of fleece you. The ego is fleecing you, my friend. The ego is taking me to the cleaners.
Right.
And so it's resulting in pain on pain on pain. So I partner with the Holy Spirit and say, please, really, in the end, deliver me from this pain.
Deliver me. I agree.
And as soon as I do that, I have to let go of all my visuals. I have to let go of all my speculated, this is what peace looks like. this is what happy outcomes are.
Right.
This is what Putin does. This is what Zelensky does. This is what the United States does.
Mm-hmm.
I have to let go of anything like that. And this is just the political. The same is true of health or relationships, my relationship with kids, my relationship with parents, my relationship with myself, everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Does that,
Yeah.
or did
yeah.
I just go on a rant?
Well, you went a little bit on a rant. I wanted to know means and end, but the means is the Holy Spirit. If the means is the Holy Spirit, it is going to bring you to the Holy Spirit's end, which will be a holy relationship. It will be peace. It will be something that, you've done with. Whereas the ego is going to bring you to seeing, it will bring to seeing everyone as sinful, seeing the world as needing to be fixed, whatever it is. Its end is going to be what it is. So this is just to set us up to understand some of the language.
Well, and the last thing about it is, which it's easy to say, if I'm out of square, if I feel upset with anything, it means that the means and the end I have separated, and I'm inconsistent in who and what I have chosen to bring me to who and what that end is. I'm inconsistent in this, and that's what this whole thing is about.
Okay, let's go. We probably covered way more than
the
we needed
period
to.
of discomfort that follows the sudden change in a relationship from sin to holiness may now be almost over. To the extent you still experience it, you are refusing to leave the means to him who changed the purpose. You recognize you want the goal. Are you not also willing to accept the means? If you are not, let us admit that you are inconsistent. A purpose is attained by means. And if you want a purpose, you must be willing to want the means as well. How can one be sincere and say, I want this above all else, and yet I do not want to learn the means, to get it? So learning, I want outcomes.
Right. So it says you recognize you want the goal. And the goal, after you've turned it over to him who changed the purpose of all relationships to a holy relationship, you recognize you want the goal. You want that holy relationship. I mean, I purposely need to insert my words to some extent in order to understand all the language. You recognize you want the holy relationship. Are you not also willing to accept the means for that holy relationship? If you are not, let us admit you are inconsistent. Because if I choose the ego, I don't want the holy relationship. I want to see them wrong. I want to be right about something. So therefore, I'm actually reinforcing their sinfulness and my own sinfulness.
That alone, right there, is the most difficult. Well, it's the whole Course in Miracles. I think I'm right about something, and above all else, I want to keep my sense of being on the right track.
Right.
Well, I've determined what the means and end are. I've already determined.
Right. So
go ahead.
To say I want above all else, there's always these statements in the Course, I want above all else, and yet I do not want to learn the means to get it. Yeah, so that's where the conflict is there.
Well, in learning the means, like if I have a certain way, the means is self-empowerment, self-understanding, spiritual pursuits, meditation, lifting weights, learning martial arts, saving money. I have all these means that I'm the center of. Well, I know those. But how do I learn the other means, the means to the real goal that I'm after? And that's what it unpacks.
Yeah, right. Okay. Paragraph 3. To obtain the goal, the Holy Spirit indeed asks little. He asks no more to give the means as well. The means are second to the goal, and when you hesitate, it is because the purpose frightens you, and not the means. Remember this, or otherwise you will make the error of believing the means are difficult. Yet how can they be difficult if they are merely given you? They guarantee the goal, and they are perfectly in line with it. Before we look at them a little closer, remember that if you think they are impossible, your wanting of the purpose has been shaken. For if the goal is possible to reach, the means to do so must be possible as well. So, So, I mean, let's just break this apart a little bit. To obtain the goal, the Holy Spirit indeed asks little. Again, let's repeat. What is it the goal of the Holy Spirit? It is to make whole. It's to make us understand our holiness.
The goal of the Holy Spirit is salvation.
Is salvation. Okay. And salvation is when we actually gain the knowledge of all things are one.
Well, we are restored to our knowledge that we are the Son of God.
Yeah. Okay.
Which unifies us automatically.
Okay, and let's go to the next line then. He asked no more to give the means as well. And the means would be, he is the bridge. He's the bridge between true knowledge of the whole thing to this world of the illusion. Okay, that's the means. The means are second to the goal. And when you hesitate, it's because the purpose frightens you and not the means. And the purpose is to bring to the mind the remembrance of our holiness and sinlessness. That's the purpose. Now, it frightens us because that means I'm wrong about the world I see.
Well, I always go back to peace is my purpose and forgiveness is my function as a basic, for me to try to remember. Peace is my purpose.
Mm-hmm. And it uses different forms of the wholeness as purpose throughout the course.
Wholeness and peace are the same thing.
Right. Mm-hmm. Remember this, for otherwise you will make the error of believing the means are difficult. Okay.
Now, then, what I hear in this is that if I have the means to, let's say, an egoic end, whether it's peace in the world or personal health, I have the means. Get online, I find stuff, I read books, I use what I have in my head, I use whatever intuitive means I have at my disposal. Right. So my means and end are clear. You're just living the egoic reality.
Right.
Now, if I want salvation, if I want the salvation of the world, if I want peace, true peace with a capital P, peace that passeth understanding, I don't have those means.
Right.
I don't have those, and wishing them on other people doesn't help. So there's a feeling that I don't know what those means are. Mm-hmm. And the Holy Spirit, Jesus is saying here in the writing that you don't have to come up with those means.
Right, exactly.
If you know what the end is, I give you the means. So there's no way that you can feel that it's difficult.
Correct. Yeah.
And he said, if you feel that those means are difficult, maybe you really don't want that end. Maybe you really don't want salvation. Maybe you really don't want peace in the world. Maybe you really want it your way.
Right. Okay, so let's go on. Remember this, for otherwise you will make the error of believing the means are difficult. Okay. Yeah, that's because you're in conflict at that point between what you think you want as the end goal.
Yeah, you're not sure. You think you want some wonderful goal, but really you want what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yet how can they be difficult if they are merely given you? Which means that we already have them. That it's already a part of our essential nature. They guarantee the goal, and they are perfectly in line with it. Before we look at them a little closer, remember that if you think they are impossible, your wanting of the purpose has been shaken. Okay, so now you're experiencing cognitive dissonance between what you think you want and what is going to be if I want it my way.
Well, let me put it in the realm of bodybuilding. Okay. Obviously, I don't do bodybuilding, but let's say put it in the realm of bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. There's the principle of bodybuilding is you destroy your muscles so that they grow back stronger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you create those micro tears.
And so basically, it's all an economy of damage and recovery. Mm-hmm. And so that there are many, many teachings out there online about whether you work your upper body or lower body, how much, how many reps, all this. Mm-hmm. And there's just a vast array of those things. Now, if I feel that the means are difficult of bodybuilding, and I decide I want, let's say, ripped abs, pecs, whatever, huge shoulders, I want to look like, I don't know what, Captain America. And let's say I want to do that, and so I get into it and I say, well, the means seem difficult. Well, maybe I really don't want to look like Captain America.
Right.
Maybe I'm not really motivated because the means are sort of automatic. Mm-hmm. There's no way to get to Captain America without going through tearing down your muscles and building them back again. There's no way. So really, if I feel like the means are hard to understand, hard to cope with, hard to manage, I don't want the end.
Right.
I don't want the muscles. That's it. It's just that simple. Admit it.
Yeah, that's true. So in the last sentence of this paragraph says, for if the goal is possible to reach, the means to do so must be possible as well. And that is guaranteed by the Holy Spirit.
So paragraph 4, it is impossible to see your brother as sinless and yet to look upon him as a body. Is this not perfectly consistent with the goal of holiness? For holiness is merely the result of letting the effects of sin be lifted, so what was always true is recognized. To see a sinless body is impossible. For holiness is positive, and the body is merely neutral. It is not sinful, but neither is it sinless. As nothing, which it is, the body cannot meaningfully be invested with attributes of Christ. Either must be in error, for both would place the attributes where they cannot be, and both must be undone for purposes of truth. So the truth of the matter is, the body, bodies, vehicles, appearances, perceptual reality is neutral. Okay, this is a difficult one for us to understand because we operate in a world of being driven by the values that various bodies offer, whether it's governmental systems, physical systems, my own body, relational systems, like what can you afford me? Right. What is our relationship? What's so great about being with you? What's so great about you being with me? What's so great about us being in this town? Each of those are buckets. They're each bodies, right. Every one of those. And any reality that I try to understand that has to do with those bodies is wrong because I'm giving value to those bodies. Right. And it's saying here that if I give value to those bodies or, it's just it's neutral. I can't say that these bodies need to do anything either to make my particular life better or to take me to heaven. Right. Either way, I'm wrong.
And so it didn't also say in the Course that, the bodies were made so that the ego had a place to sort of like house itself. It needs a host in order to, but the body itself is neutral. But the ego needs a place to reside in order to have a, quote, perceived livelihood.
To an extent, the body, this is what's weird. The body cannot be a witness. Follow me. The body can't be a witness to heaven, but it can be a witness to the ego's agenda. In other words, the pain, suffering, blood, guts, blood, sweat, and tears of the body are proofs that the ego is correct in its assessment.
Right.
The body cannot, however, prove God. And this is where the Holy Spirit comes in. That's the happy dream. It's the happy illusion. So the Holy Spirit provides us an illusion of happy bodies. Even though but we have to realize that's a temporary holding bin for us.
Right.
We can't assume that that's heaven.
Right.
Heaven isn't a bunch of happy, but we'll put it this way. The happy dream is a bunch of happy bodies.
Yes.
But that is as much an illusion as the other.
Correct. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay, I think we can go on. Paragraph 5. The body is the means by which the ego tries to make the unholy relationship seem real. The unholy instant is the time of bodies. But the purpose here is sin. It cannot be attained but in illusion. And so the illusion of a brother as a body is quite in keeping with the purpose of unholiness. Because of this consistency, the means remain unquestioned while the end is cherished. Seeing adapts to wish, for sight is always secondary to desire. And if you see the body, you have chosen judgment and not vision. For vision, like relationship, has no order. You either see or not.
Okay. The body is the means by which the ego tries to make seem real, the unholy relationship seem real. So the body, well, I just got through saying that. The body is the proving ground for the ego's agenda. That's what it is.
Right.
Vision itself, we're not, obviously perception is neutral. The body is neutral. All those are neutral. But their nature, as we've said many times before, the nature of them is to tilt towards proving out our separation, proving out the ego's world is correct, that I do need to protect, I do need to enhance myself, I do need to have unholy relationships in order to make sure that I'm safe, even if it's at their expense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's just the way this place is built. And so that my vision cuts through all that. Vision cuts right through perception. So that when vision happens, this is the holy relationship, vision, in a sense, simultaneously reveals perception as absolutely neutral and meaningless. Perception as absolutely neutral. Perception as absolutely neutral and meaningless.
Right.
And at the same time, vision shows the reality that perception was designed to hide.
Right.
It happens, those two things happen.
Right. I like the second sentence here, too. It says, the unholy instant is the time of bodies. So the time, that unholy instant, that mad idea is, and it puts that in italics, the time of bodies. So bodies require a time-based, time-space circumstance. And there's places that admit in the Course also that time is also an illusion. So, but the purpose here is sin. So the ego's purpose, the ego's purpose is sin. It cannot be attained but in illusion. And so the illusion of the brother as a body is quite in keeping with the purpose of unholiness. I don't know if there was anything else. I think that probably covers that. So why don't you go on?
Paragraph 6. Who sees a brother's body has laid a judgment on him and sees him not. He does not really see him as sinful. He does not see him at all. In the darkness of sin, he is invisible. He can but be imagined in the darkness. And it is here that the illusions you hold about him are held up to his reality. Here are illusions and reality kept separated. Here the illusions never brought to truth. Here are illusions never brought to truth and always hidden from it. And here, in darkness, is your brother's reality imagined as a body in unholy relationships with other bodies, serving the cause of sin an instant before he dies.
I thought that the main thing was that he who sees a brother's body has laid a judgment on him and sees him not. So whenever I have grievance, whenever I judge, even prejudge, people, or even people we don't see or know because they're on some media outlet, I have immediately designated him as sinful. So
well, it's more definitive than that.
Okay. In what way?
If I perceive a brother as a separate self with his own agenda over there, across the block, across the room, across the planet, whatever, I have judged him.
Well, that's true.
That's all I have to do. I don't have to have a bad opinion or anything. As soon as I see that person over there, that kid, that in-law, that doctor, that lawyer, that politician, the partner, the spouse, as soon as I see them as over there, living an independent life, separately in their own world, what is she thinking? What on earth is she thinking? What on earth do they think they're doing?
What are they thinking of me?
What are they doing? I don't even care. Let's say it's
Well,
Putin. I don't
might.
even. No, some people. There are many, many people that irk me and bug me that don't even know I exist.
Right.
So if that's the case, what are they thinking? Why would they do that? This whole antagonistic sense of being separate from those. I don't even have to feel bad. I could feel good about it. It's a judgment on the brother, and I have sentenced them to be in a body. I've sentenced them to be unholy,
Right.
sinful. To see a person in a body, I can say, bless you, my child. It is so good to see you. You're such a wonderful human being. Here's a quarter. Here's $5. Here's whatever. Wow, I feel so good about what I've done, and I feel so good about the day, and I feel unholy relationship.
Right.
Unholy relationship.
Right. And that's
Because I'm
that's
viewing them as
difficult
separate.
right.
This is what's the course. That's why it says over and over again, this is really a simple course. You guys make it complicated. The complication comes from this separation of means and ends. I want that kid to be separate that I just gave a $5 bill to. I don't want them to be part of me.
Right. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
It reinforces my world so that I'm the mighty Christmas tree. And all of these people and things are strands of lights and garlands and
So,
ornaments
let's take
strung
that-
on me.
Right, but let's take that same instant where you're giving to, whatever.
Some kid needs
an
some
organization.
money.
It could be
Whatever.
UNICEF
Yeah,
or something,
right.
whatever it is. They come to the door. If giving and receiving are one and the same, if I can see that as I'm giving, I'm also receiving instantly and I'm giving to myself, then I'm learning what the course is. All I'm trying to do is trying to take the same world, but have my perception shift from I am the greater giving to the lesser, and vice versa, or I am the lesser receiving from something greater than me. So if I go about my life and it's still the same action, but I'm aware that I'm not greater, they're not lesser. There's no difference. As I give, I receive. They are one and the same. I think that's the only point I want to make, is that if we understood that if you're going to go and feed the hungry, that what you're doing is feeding yourself, that you're feeding the aspect of yourself that is hungry for something in life.
So much of the Course in Miracles, my thought on it, for what it's worth, there's nothing in here about, let's say, charity or love extended from me to another. There's nothing in here about that. There's none about charity or love or forgiveness extended from me to another.
There is that moment, though. It says, no, let me just say where it says, if a brother asks an unreasonable request, that you're supposed to fulfill because otherwise I am saying that. What is it? So it has something to do with the unreasonable request. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, no, I know. If a brother makes an unreasonable request, do it. Just go with it. But to do the Jen Psaki on this thing and just say, let's circle back.
Okay.
Let's circle back.
Okay.
The body's neutral. Giving money to the kid at the door, giving money to UNICEF.
Yeah.
Praying for those people over there. It's all neutral. If you think that there's genuine value in those actions, you're wrong. It's neutral. It's nothing. Saying those prayers, giving that money, buying Claxon fruit cakes from somebody for their high school, it's all neutral. It's nothing. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. How many times do you have to say that? Anybody, any body, any vehicle, any of those interactions are meaningless as body to body, because the essence of this is in the mind. Now, it's not to say, let's just get into a head trip. Let's just get into a head trip. There's some subtle problems. Let's take the kid at the door with his little chart, and I say, I really don't want to give him $5, but you know what? My brother's making an unreasonable request, so I'm going to give him $5. The kid is not making the unreasonable request. I am making the unreasonable request. The unreasonable request is to see a meaningless action as meaningful. That is the unreasonable request. That is what has to be exposed. So that if
So
I...
when is that division now not, it's, the whole idea is that you see unification. So when is it not there? When is unification interacted in an interaction between two beings?
That's a decision I make at that moment. And I realize at the moment where I'm about to say, oh, the kid, the cause, the world, we're all one. It's an unreasonable request. And I have to be very, very self-honest and say, am I just getting rid of someone?
Mm-hmm.
Am I just getting rid of someone?
Right.
That's totally steeped in ego.
Right.
No good can come from that.
Right.
I have definitely signed a contract with the unholy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
Right.
And so that my only option is to have a moment where I've got that little kid sitting there and going, Holy Spirit, I've only got a second here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've literally got a split second. I'm seeing this wrongly. What do I do? How do I deal with this? Mm-hmm. And if I'm not having a whatever outcome I get, in other words, whatever intuitive hit I get for what I do, give them the money, okay? Give them the money and feel what you feel, and then go regroup and say, give me your blessing, Holy Son of God, because I am out of square, I'm out of touch, I'm not in contact with my world. That money I gave them is meaningless.
Right.
I've done nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'm caught in a maelstrom. I'm caught in a spin cycle of life, mm-hmm. just reacting and responding in ways that I don't understand. And so I have to then go back and let that be fodder for contemplation, mm-hmm. because I'm out of my mind.
Right.
I don't know how to see the kid as separate.
Right.
So what that child ends up doing, yes, I gave him $5 for his fruitcake or whatever that I did. What really happened there is that my wound is revealed. My delusion is revealed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I say, what did the kid give me? That's what he gave me. That's what the kid gave me.
Okay. That's the
We have
agree.
to take the time to make these choices. What did this
Yeah.
kid give me? Why? I gave him $5, but I'm a lunatic.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pulling out green bills and throwing them at a kid and then saying, bye. Don't come back next year. Or, oh, I love you so much. It's so wonderful. I hope you can go on your trip. Whatever, it doesn't matter what my
Right.
opinion is. I am locked into the unholy relationship, and I have to feel the pain of that and realize salvation is the purpose. Salvation is my only purpose in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I definitely didn't do it.
Right.
I definitely didn't do it. But the kid comes as a dark angel, mm-hmm. saying, my friend, you're nuts. That's what the kid just gave me. And then I have a chance to partner with the Holy Spirit, maybe with tears, uh-huh. to see I'm sitting on the floor by myself, just I don't know anything. I'm an idiot. And how do I get connected to reality? How on earth do I get connected to reality? And I ask this of the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. That's the gift the kid brought me.
Yeah.
And then I can shower. I can say, oh, those are blessings that the kid brought me. Mm-hmm. And then I can say, I have been blessed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
But it takes some effort.
It does.
That's the learning it's talking about, a connecting means and ends. It
Right.
takes a learning.
Right. And I haven't really thought about, sort of reviewing my day and seeing where I had opportunity to see connection or have connection, and I kept it as I'm over here, they're over there, and I just want to keep it that way, So it's definitely worth contemplation. I agree. Okay, paragraph 7. This is indeed a difference between the vain imagining and vision. The difference lies not in them, but in their purpose. Both are but means, each one appropriate to the end for which it is employed. Neither can serve the purpose of the other, for each one is a choice of purpose employed on its behalf. Either is meaningless without the end for which it was intended, nor is it valued as a separate thing apart from the intention. The means seem real because the goal is valued. The judgment has no value unless the goal is sin. So again, I mean, if I'm just reading this and it sounds like I actually have to place it in context with something. Otherwise, I start to lose with all the goals, the means, and the ends and stuff like that. So there is indeed a difference between the vain imagining and vision. So the illusion and vision, the illusion comes from the ego's mind and the other comes from the Holy Spirit. The difference lies not in them, but in their purpose. So the purpose is, peace or holiness through the Holy Spirit, or it's sinfulness and separateness with the ego. Both are but means, each one appropriate to the end for which it is employed. Okay, so we have both the ego and the Holy Spirit. Which one are we partnering with? Neither can serve the purpose of the other, for each one is a choice of purpose employed on its behalf.
Okay, this is the thing. I live in time. Mm-hmm. And living in time, things happen. Mm-hmm. You got a cold, you got sick, I got a cold, I got sick. It's this stupid, lingering kind of thing. And you just keep on being there. Now, it's not sick, but it's just this tedious illness process. It happens in time. Mm-hmm. I begin to structure my life and the meaning of my life around getting better. Right? And I just sort of endure the illness. I endure it as I endure the kid at the door, as I endure my whole life, hoping that there's something wonderful on the other side of it. Something eventually. I live that way. It's the ego. Seek and do not find. It's around the corner.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Right, exactly.
Somewhere I give $5 to the kid. Hey, maybe he'll remember me.
Maybe
at college. He'll say, I remember that nice guy that gave me $5. I only expected $3. He gave me $5. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go be a doctor and save all kinds of people. I can make up these fantasies in this world of separate bodies.
Yes.
But in the end, I'm given now. Mm-hmm. I'm in the now, right this second.
Right.
With the sniffles, with the sore throat, with the kid at the door, with whatever, with you. It takes learning to get myself to where I go, I want salvation. Mm-hmm. I want salvation. I want salvation. Now, what is salvation? First of all, to want salvation, you have to feel unsaved.
Right.
You have to feel like you're on the some sort of trash heap. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I have to realize the kid at the door or my sickness, I'm so pitiful. And, this illness comes on me and there's nothing I can do. Right. It just comes down and it just stays with me for weeks and weeks and weeks. Damn that Anthony Fauci or whatever. I can say or do whatever I want to about this thing. Mm-hmm. My invitation in all of these empty physical events, they're all empty. They're empty. Whether it's the election or the sickness or the kid at the door, is to be saved and to recognize that my poor pitiful me or the tedium of dealing with the kid at the door or just enduring, Joanna's on her, cleaning thing, or whatever. Just any...
I've got her on the vacuum.
Any of those kind of thoughts that might go through my mind is an indication I have elected to live in hell.
Right.
And not to find salvation. It takes a learning to check your pulse. Mm-hmm. No, just for today, I just want to, complain. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay? I just want to complain. You're welcome to it. Yes. Complain. You got billions of years. You can complain for billions of years.
Right.
But salvation and a deliverance from complaints is available right now.
Right.
Right now.
And it's amazing. It is simple, and yet it's amazing how much I can feel my own inner resistance to those particular, to have salvation. Right?
No, you just the hell want to complain.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
I've earned it.
I have a reason.
I've earned it. I've earned it. I've earned it. And there's a lot of good. I got a list. I got a punch list of stuff I'm going to complain about because whatever. I'm sick. The kid at the door, he came last week. What the hell is this? You know what I mean?
Wrong guy won the election.
Right. Or whatever it is.
Yeah, I know.
I have a complaint.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have so many complaints, and all of those are my little contract. Ego shows up at the door and says, "Who are you going to side with?" I'm in with you, guy. You got me a punch list of activities that I can do.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have not learned the Holy Spirit's punch list. And the thing is, the Holy Spirit does the Holy Spirit's punch list. He doesn't come at me at the door. The ego comes like a solicitor, like the kid.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm constantly, the ego solicits me every moment of every life because that is the nature of this physical body, is to be solicited by the ego to prove out.
Well, because we're sensate. I mean, everything comes in at us through our sight, our hearing, our touch, the weather.
So what I'm saying is that learning, that there's a different punch list. It really is. So that when I'm, okay, there's the vacuum. Oh, there it goes again. It's like whatever minor, easy thought goes through my mind, that's the opportunity. The Holy Spirit is showing up at that instant to say, where are you? Now. Where are you now? Now. And that is truly every momentary second is potentially, if I'm paying the hell attention to my life as it unfolds.
Right.
Every second is an opportunity. And the Holy Spirit Jesus is saying here, you think that's hard, don't you? You think that's hard. You think it's hard to bring yourself to the now. You think the means are difficult. You want the end, but it's so irritating. I just want to complain. And the Holy Spirit or Jesus here is saying, you think the means are hard because maybe you really don't want the end. Maybe you really do kind of like that your little pitiful heaven of complaints where you have control as a victim.
Right.
It takes self-analysis. And I'm going to say that for me, I've said this so many times, for me, it is always a mixed bag. It always results in mourning. It's not like, happy day, I threw off the fetters of the ego. No, it's mourning. Wow. Wasted time, delusion. Nobody wants to find out that they gave all their money to a shyster. Nobody wants to find out that they were fleeced royally with every moment of their life when they could have been working towards the happy dream in a more productive way instead of just signing on with one futile decision after another.
Right.
See? Okay, do you hear what I'm saying? One futile decision after another. Looking at my past and the things I didn't get right and the things that whatever it is, and to realize each of those was the Holy Spirit going, hello?
Yes.
Do you want the holy instant?
Right.
I didn't know what it was.
Exactly.
And so it's talking about, are you willing to learn?
Exactly.
It's not, are you willing to take on the Holy Spirit? Are you willing to learn it?
Yes, to learn. Yeah. Okay.
Where are we?
We're on paragraph 8.
The body cannot be looked upon except through judgment. To see the body is the sign that you lack vision and have denied the means the Holy Spirit offers you to serve His purpose. How can a holy relationship achieve its purpose through the means of sin? Judgment you taught yourself. Vision is learned from Him who would undo your teaching. Let's contemplate that for a second before I forget it. Judgment you taught yourself. Vision is learned from Him who would undo your teaching. That's what I was saying.
Right. Exactly.
His vision cannot see the body because it cannot look on sin. And thus it leads you to reality. Your holy brother, sight of whom is your release, is no illusion. Attempt to see him not in darkness, for your imaginings about him will seem real there. You close your eyes to shut him out. You closed your eyes to shut him out. Such was your purpose. And while this purpose seems to have a meaning, the means for its attainment will be evaluated as worth the seeing, and so you will not see. Now, one thought that came to mind, this might not be appropriate or meaningful or relevant, is that so many times we think, you know what? Open your eyes to your brother.
Right.
And help him. Mm-hmm. There are so many people in this world suffering, and they need our help. And Jesus is saying here, open your eyes and see the world around you, and help. But in whatever way you can, you engage yourself in meaningful activities and quit sleeping, quit living from one bathroom trip or cup of coffee to the next, and start to do the work and make this a better place. That's not what it's talking about. Mm-hmm. That's all the unholy relationship. The world out there is not separate from me. Mm-hmm. And as I see the separation of the world from me and I want to reach out and do activism to solve it, I'm participating in the nightmare.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Mm-hmm. You do nothing, right? You do nothing. Mm-hmm. No, it's like the kid at the door. I look at a world that's wounded and say, why do I keep looking at the world that's wounded?
Right, exactly. And until we choose to be that, quote, light of the world, and again, not even knowing exactly what that means, but again, deciding for it, and partnering with the Holy Spirit, I cannot see my brother outside of his body. So it does take what appears to be conscious effort and what seems to be difficult, mostly because the world of the senses is it's so insistent. It's quite insistent on my touch, on my whatever, right now the room feels chilled to me for some reason. So, and I go, but, so everything is a sensory input. And as you said, I want to complain about that. It's like, it needs to be warmer in here or whatever it is.
Or you want to dial it into a place where you don't complain about it, but you go, oh, isn't this nice?
Yeah. Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So, so I'm trying to think for myself for how I go about truly setting it so that I can have vision. It takes vigilance for the kingdom is what they call it.
Absolutely.
Vigilance. And in the meantime, so long as I don't want to be vigilant for the kingdom or for my salvation, which is also the salvation of the world, then I've decided to be kind of mediocre, kind of warm, which doesn't allow for a lot of holy instances to come into my life. And I have to just recognize that I am choosing that. I'm choosing kind of a lackadaisical, kind of mediocre stepping into my practice. And so when things of the world or my body or whatever my body is sensing cause a discomfort of any sort because I'm judging it, I have to recognize I'm not partnering with the Holy Spirit. I've decided to be the complaining body thing, ego, and that is my choice. And I guess all I'm saying is that there's the opportunity when I do feel those things and everything else. Do I really want to stay in this place? Do I really want to stay with my right idea about what I think my senses are giving me about this and what my interpretation of the world is? Or do I want to see it another way? Because I can sense that, particularly all this means and end and everything else, it says that it's easy. And I can feel everything inside of me going, it's not that easy. What's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it's easy? And then I can say that because the only thing that's not making it easy is because I want a different end than what the Holy Spirit has has for its purpose.
That's it.
And so I'm just examining.
You want what you
inside.
want.
Yeah, I want what I want, and I'm going, okay, so that means I don't really want. And then I would say, no, I really want what the Holy Spirit has for me, and I can feel that. I'm in total conflict.
You don't trust God.
Yeah, I don't trust God.
Nobody trusts God. It's not your fault. It's not your problem. It's not unique.
It is mine.
We don't trust God. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say we went through a bunch of major appliance issue things,
Yeah.
so we hauled out this stackable washer and dryer. I virtually broke my back to get the thing out of the house. It weighs a bazillion pounds. What is it, a decillion? My new number, a decillion? A decillion pounds. But anyway, it weighs a lot. We got that out, and now we're going to do this, we're going to do that. In all that, I have a little ledger in my mind of tasks to be accomplished, the sequence of those events, a certain amount of either anxiety or referencing other past experiences to accomplish the new washer, the new dryer, to get them here, to get them there, to do this, to do that. And so I am living with that scenario of these major appliances. It's totally routine, right? It's totally routine. These things get done. You call the plumber, you call the whatever, you call the appliance guy, he shows up and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I wrecked your wall on the way in. But, they say the thing happens.
Right, exactly.
You make your phone calls, you get your experts, things happen. I go through that, and if I look at that and go, this is Phil's little heaven. He's master of the universe here. He's got his telephone, he's got his appliance company, he's got his electrician, his plumber, and there's no need to do anything here. There's no spiritual practice here. Don't be ridiculous. There's nothing going on here. It's an appliance, Yeah. No. Now, the thing is, as soon as I have that thought, I realize, boy, you're out on a limb. You've stuck yourself out. You're playing the ego's game, full on,
right?
Full on, and so. But the thing is, you can sense. So okay, contact the Holy Spirit. But I got to get the wash done. There's that whole thing, right?
I know. No, it's very much like that.
Well, what if the Holy Spirit doesn't want me to wash my clothes here? What if the Holy Spirit wants me to go to a laundromat for the rest of my life? What if the Holy Spirit gets me a lousy appliance in here? No, we've got these things, and so I got to take care of it.
Right.
I've got to take care of it. So you can see that the basic problem with all this is I don't trust God. I think he's going to screw me. I think God is going to screw me, and I don't trust his means of salvation. I don't trust.
It doesn't help to look at a crucified Jesus on a cross every time you
listen, I'm not going to blame the appliances on Jesus or the crucifixion.
I know, but he did the will of God, and that's how we interpret it. It's like,
no.
I don't know if I want to do the will of God.
No. Okay, well, I can blame Christianity and its icons. I can do that, but really, it's a matter of me realizing I'm caught in the grinder. I'm caught in the spin cycle of this world. I'm caught in it. I'm in it like this. And to say, I know this is absurd, but, it's like, what about the washer and dryer thing? What about this? What about the hot water heater? What about, and to try to find the now. There is, right. But you realize, and I've gone through this before, when I look at this, I say, there's no now in here. Why would there be a now in a washer and dryer? Why would there be a now in washing dishes? Why would there be a now in a leaky hot water heater? And to say, find that now, even if it's routine maintenance, if it's just answering the door. The idea, what's the goal? What's the learning? To ask for that desire for the now as often as possible. That's what I have to learn.
Okay.
And this is, and the
That's
thing
a good
is,
point.
this is no different than Ramana Maharshi, where he says, people come to me and they say, this is too hard, to say, who am I? Who's asking for this? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? This is too hard. He says, okay, well, if that's too hard, what do you want to do? I want to say Om. He says, if you think it's too hard to ask who you are, what the nature of the person is that's asking this or seeking this. If you think that's too hard, for sure saying Om is going to be no easier. Because the simple reality is you don't want it.
Right.
You don't want it.
Right.
You want your own goal. You want your own outcome. And that's how this is. If I really, really wanted heaven on earth, this peaceful outcome, I have to realize how addicted I am to where that washer goes and how it gets up here and the various stages of getting the washer or the dryer here, and that I'm stuck in that. And that's my little power. That's my power. And these are easy moments to actually access the Holy Spirit and say, it seems meaningless, wrong, no order of difficulty.
Right.
Have we ever talked about that before?
Yes, exactly.
There's no order of difficulty.
Yeah. And it's the problem is me turning these decision-making times over to the Holy Spirit. Including like, let's say, we're going to go to the store, and we're gonna look at some washers and dryers and stuff like that, and then we say, oh, I think that'll work or whatever, and we make that decision and everything else. But even before you go, I guess in minor decisions like this, and they are relatively minor, really, that you just say, do I want to just try and figure it out all my way, or do I want to see what the Holy Spirit has to offer me?
I say it looks like
in
this.
The shop.
This is what I think it looks like. We say, okay, whatever it is, like right now, we get off of this thing that we're doing, this podcast, or we're going to go look at washing and dryers, is immediately, as soon as I can, put myself in the vehicle of the Holy Spirit, place myself there and say, I am in this Holy Spirit. All of these motions, this one foot after another, this one action after another, this one thought decision after another, are empty. They are completely empty. And by me saying that and saying that all of my actions, all of my decisions are empty, I make them the best that I can because I'm a human being living in a body, but I have partnered and I'm in the vehicle of the Holy Spirit and allowing them to be empty, no charge. In other words, I get in the car, I'm saying this is empty. My safety depends on God.
Right.
My God is the source of my strength. I'm in there, I get out, I'm at Lowe's or somewhere, and I'm looking at these rows of washers and dryers. I say, what do you see? Ding, 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 ding. What about this one? Sounds good to me. Let's get it. We sign off on it, say, what's the delivery? The whole time, I'm empty. I'm empty.
I agree. Yeah, it's the anticipation.
None of it's important.
Right. It's the anticipation of what I think needs to happen always with these kinds of things that makes it anxiety driven or whatever it is that gets me in a worry.
I'm the center of the world.
Yeah, I'm the center of the world. And so anyway, I thought you did a good job with that, actually.
Thanks.
Okay.
Lucky.
Okay, lucky. Lucky me. Okay, paragraph 9. Your question should not be, how can I see my brother without the body? Ask only, do I really wish to see him sinless? Yeah, ask only, do I really wish to see him sinless? And as you ask, forget not that his sinlessness is your escape from fear. Salvation is the Holy Spirit's goal. The means is vision, for what the seeing look upon is sinless. No one who loves can judge. That's a good point. No one who loves can judge, and what he sees is free of condemnation. And what he sees he did not make, for it was given him to see. It was the vision that made his seeing possible.
As was the vision.
Oh, okay.
That made his seeing possible. But, okay, so let's take any of these examples. And this is all, just put in my term, I came to this popped in my head. It's all conspiracy theory. All of this, the Course in Miracles, is all conspiracy theory this way. If I side with the ego, the conspiracy theory is that everyone I meet, they don't care about me. They're separate from me. They may or may not be useful to me. I will find out in time and in space, and that I don't really have much hope for that, but I'm an isolated particle of which I'm lost in a kind of a nihilistic relationship with this machinery of which I know nothing. Mm-hmm. That's a conspiracy. Right. In other words, a conspiracy is, quote, everyone's out to get me. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's one conspiracy. Mm-hmm. The Course in Miracles, you go out and say, everybody's out to help me. Everybody, no matter what happens, no matter how it happens. If somebody fender benders me in the parking lot, if there's no washers on the floor, if everything's whatever, no, it doesn't matter how it turns out.
Yeah,
Everyone's
that's a
out
good
to help
point.
me. It's a conspiracy. Everyone is out to help me. Every aspect of it, every part is out to help me achieve
I love it.
unity and salvation. So it's conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
What conspiracy do you want? That everyone is conspiring to help you, or everyone's out there to screw you? It's like that's the conspiracy. Now, somebody would say, knowing me, they're going to say, well, Phil,
You would say everyone's out to screw you.
you seem to always constantly talk about how everyone's out to screw you. Okay. Understanding, to me, this is the way I look at it. Understanding the way the world works. Let's say, because I am a conspiracy theorist. I mean, serious. It's a serious avocation. And so let's say I'm into conspiracy theory, and basically there are these cabals of individuals that are out to sort of get me, or, to get us, and we've been fleeced, and Jim Morrison really didn't write his music and stuff like that. So let's say I've got all these conspiracies of how I've been fleeced or misled or whatever. That is not inconsistent with the Course in Miracles believing that there's actually a conspiracy, that they're all out to help me. Because what happens is, I have all these conspiracies, let's say about the music industry, or about politics, or about world tragedies.
Right.
That, what's his name? The guy that Chase Manhattan Bank sank the Titanic, let's say, and they did it on purpose to kill Astor, or whatever, the richest guy in the world. So let's say I've got that as conspiracies, and you go, wow, that's completely inconsistent. That kind of paranoia is inconsistent with what you just said. But in my world, without changing my beliefs about those things, I have to realize the beautiful dance that all of those so-called, in the conventional world, nefarious relationships are there only to awaken me.
Yeah, to be helpful.
To
your
be helpful.
awakening.
That's all they're there for. And so for that reason, suddenly, let's say, whoever the guy was that runs Chase Manhattan, let's say he sank the Titanic.
J.P. Morgan?
J.P. Morgan. So let's say J.P. Morgan intentionally killed that other rich guy, Astor. Let's say he intentionally sank the Titanic so that he could start the Federal Reserve. And that's a conspiracy, right? It's a conspiracy. And a lot of people will say, wow, that's over the top. And I would say, without changing my beliefs, without getting away from that level of what other people would call paranoia, I can look at that and be grateful, true gratitude to the dance of, what was the guy's name again?
Astor or J.P. Morgan?
J.P. Morgan. The dance between J.P. Morgan and the Titanic and Astor. I can see the beauty of that process as being a component of the human unfolding towards enlightenment, and that it cannot but contribute to God's plan for salvation.
Okay,
That's
I
a
see.
decision
Yes.
I can make.
Right. Yeah, all things, all things that seem tragic or as deceit or.
In other words,
nefarious
the body
can be used by the mind to say all of these have been placed in front of me, so that I can see them differently, and I can see them in light of what the Holy Spirit would have as the end.
So I absolutely do not have to see the players in my, let's say, dark, what somebody would call paranoid fantasies. I don't have to see them as really good people with good intentions. I don't have to go there, because that is nesting value in the body. What I do as an avocation of pursuing these dark understories is neutral. And all the Course asks me to say is that after all that, you've got all these nefarious scenarios of whatever lizard people or whatever you got. What do you got to us today? It's like that's all neutral. All of it, all the dark underbelly of the world is in the end bodies acting on bodies, therefore neutral. And I hold it all as a ball, He's got the whole world in his hands, me being God, holding the world in his hands, in partnership with his Holy Spirit, and saying, oh, what a wonderful world.
Yeah, what a wonderful world.
What a wonderful world. We're going there.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop it.
That's right.
No, really.
I agree.
Don't you think?
I agree. Yeah. So just remember, can you see your brother without a body? Or are you going to keep him in sin?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.